Okay, first of all, thanks for being here. I guess, one of the first questions many people ask is, well, why did you write a book at this stage of your life? And main reason is that I thought I'd better write a book while I could still write and remember a little bit about what's happened in the past. And actually I was approached by a publisher, and I guess their motivation was to they'd looked at the fact that I'd done a lot of different things and kind of a strange combination of things when you look at a very brief and rather ordinary NFL career, and then assistant football coach and head football coach, and then stint as a professor, and then time in Congress, and then running for governor, and then back as athletic director. So anyway, they just suggested that maybe it'd be worth taking a shot at. So I told them okay in a moment of weakness. And I think any of you have tried to write a book or write anything extensive, you realize that it always becomes more involved than what you thought. It looks pretty easy to start with, and then eventually it gets a little more complicated. So this is obviously hopefully it's nonfiction, and Switzer always used to accuse you guys of being fiction writers, remember? And I've never made that accusation. But anyway, talk a little bit about returning to athletics, what I found here when I came, and some of the things that we tried to do to maybe make the environment a little bit more wholesome, a little bit more constructive, and then discuss maybe one chapter that some people may have trouble relating to, but I talk a little bit about a worldview, because I think every one of us looks at the world through a filter, through a lens, and so I reflect a little bit on what my worldview is, what my particular lens is, and of course it lent itself to some discussion of spiritual matters and so on. Talked some about changes in athletics that I've seen over the years, going back clear to 1962 and then more recently in the last 10 years. And then of course talk a little bit about my time in Washington and what I've seen government do well and what I've seen it do poorly, and why it is as it is, at least from my viewpoint. And then a little bit about running for governor, not very well, and maybe some reasons why I didn't do very well in that race. And then talk a little bit about being athletic director, servanthood, and then leadership. And I've thought a lot about that because I've taught some classes in leadership and have had some opportunities to exercise leadership, sometimes well, sometimes not so well. And I've seen a lot of people in leadership positions and how they've handled it. And so those are some of the issues. And I don't know how many of you have had a chance to look at it, but anybody that would like to ask questions, I'd be very happy to try to answer them. And I'm not here to do a lecture. So anything you'd like to ask about?